In a remote village, nestled between the golden waves of the African savanna and the dense, mysterious forests, lived a young man named Kofi, whose heart brimmed with dreams far larger than the humble madanda thatch homes around him. Kofi was known not for his wealth or status, but for his kindness and wisdom. And yet he carried a secret ambition to become the greatest weaver in all the lands, crafting fabrics so vibrant and intricate that they could capture the very spirit of the sun, sky, and earth in their threads. Yet he shared this dream with no one, not even his closest friends, because he had learned from the elders that true success often whispers before it roars, and that announcing one's triumphs too soon invites envy, doubt, and misfortune. Each morning he would rise before the rooster crowed, threading his loom in silence while the village slept, the rhythmic clatter of shuttle and loom echoing like a heartbeat of dedication across the still air. And though his hands were raw and calloused, he wove patterns inspired by the stories of his ancestors, the flights of the birds, and the twisting rivers, imagining that one day these creations would tell a story more powerful than any words, a story that would speak for themselves. The elders often watched him from a distance, nodding with quiet approval, murmuring tales of a great weaver who once let his talent shine too soon, only to find that jealousy and sabotage stripped him of his joy. And so Kofi understood the wisdom of restraint, embracing patience as the secret ingredient of greatness, his heart beating with a quiet fire as he worked tirelessly, imagining a future where the world would not only see his art but feel its soul. Though tempted many times to boast to the villagers about his progress, to display a sample here or a small cloth there, Kofi resisted, remembering the story of Nana Adam, the elder who once revealed his crops too early and watched them wither under the weight of others' envy. And instead, Kofi whispered encouragement to others, offered guidance in small ways, and smiled humbly at the praise of his friends for minor achievements, keeping the true magnitude of his skill locked within, a seed growing slowly but surely toward greatness. He told himself that one day, when the time was right, his work would speak so loudly that no one could ignore it, that the brilliance of his art would be undeniable. Yet until that day, he remained patient, resilient, and humble, letting every thread tell a quiet story, weaving a tapestry of not only colors but also lessons of discretion, perseverance, and the invisible power of silent ambition. And as the sun set behind the distant hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet, Kofi felt a surge of pride and peace, knowing that the path of true success was often a solitary one, and that the whispers of effort in the silence would eventually crescendo into the undeniable roar of achievement, proving that the greatest victories are those that are cultivated in quiet and unveiled only when they can shine in their fullest glory. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Kofi's dedication to his craft deepened, each sunrise finding him at his loom before the village even stirred, his fingers dancing across threads of indigo, crimson, gold, and emerald as if channeling the whispers of the ancestors themselves. He had discovered that each pattern he wove carried not just beauty, but a hidden language, a secret map of patience, wisdom, and resilience. And though curiosity tugged at him to reveal his creations, He remembered the stories of those who had spoken too soon and lost everything to envy, ridicule, or greed, and so he kept his masterpieces hidden in the corner of his small hut, draped with simple cloths so no wandering eyes would notice, while offering only humble works to the villagers. Simple mats and scarves that carried a hint of his genius but not its full glory. Children often watched him with wide-eyed wonder, asking questions about his colors and designs, and Kofi smiled gently, teaching them the small joys of weaving, the patience required, the respect for the loom and the thread, yet never hinting at the brilliance he nurtured silently, for he understood that true success is like the river beneath the surface, flowing steadily, unseen, gathering strength and depth until it bursts forth in unstoppable force. Nights were spent under the starlit sky, where the silhouettes of acacia trees danced against the moon, Kofi reflecting on the duality of ambition and humility, realizing that in keeping his achievements to himself, he was not being secretive out of fear, but out of respect for the natural rhythm of growth and recognition, understanding that some seeds flourish best when tended quietly, away from prying hands and critical eyes. And in this silence, he found freedom from comparison, envy, and distraction, allowing his mind to explore innovative patterns, new weaving techniques, and colors inspired by dreams and stories that others could not see. Sometimes, traders passing through the village would glimpse a piece of his simple work and comment on its charm, unaware of the masterworks hidden behind closed doors, and Kofi would bow politely, nod, and thank them without revealing the scope of his talent, knowing that premature praise is a fragile thing, easily broken by the weight of expectation, and that the day would come when he could present his creations without fear, when the world itself would have no choice but to recognize the quiet power of what had been nurtured in patience, discipline, and secrecy. And as the wind swept across the savannah, carrying the scents of wildflowers and distant rain, Kofi felt a surge of connection to the land, the people, and the traditions that had shaped him, understanding that keeping his success a secret was not a denial of pride, but a declaration of wisdom, a choice to let his work mature until its impact could be as profound as the stories told around the evening fires, so that when the moment arrived, his achievement would speak louder than any words, echoing across villages and forests, teaching all who witnessed it the timeless lesson that greatness is often quiet, deliberate, and unveiled only when it is ready to shine in its fullest glory. Kofi's reputation for modest, humble works continued to grow in the village. Yet none suspected the extraordinary creations hidden within the quiet corners of his hut. Even as travelers came and went, some remarking on the subtle beauty of his small pieces, Kofi remained steadfast in his silence, for he knew that eyes often watch in ways one cannot see, and that revealing one's full talent too soon invites not only envy but dangerous interference. As stories from elders whispered warnings of those whose brilliance had been stolen or sabotaged when flaunted prematurely, each day he wove with an intensity that blurred the lines between labor and meditation, threads slipping through his fingers with almost mystical precision, forming patterns inspired by the flight of hawks above the savannah, the shifting colors of the river at dawn, and the untold stories of ancestors whose wisdom seemed to pulse through every strand, guiding his hands toward perfection that no one would witness until the right moment. At times, Kofi would sense a shadow in the doorway, a wandering trader or a curious neighbor, and he would smile faintly, lowering the cloth over his masterpiece, presenting only a simple mat or shawl, while internally imagining the awe that would come when the full extent of his talent could no longer be hidden. And in that anticipation, he learned the greatest secret of all. Patience is not passive, but a deliberate cultivation of power, a way of strengthening one's art and character, so that when the world finally sees, the impact is undeniable and transformative. Kofi's mind often wandered to the great weavers of history, men and women whose names echoed across lands, not because they shouted their triumphs, but because their work spoke louder than words ever could. And he understood that his own journey mirrored theirs in quiet resilience, disciplined secrecy, and unwavering commitment. And as he carefully threaded the final strands of a complex design, he felt a deep satisfaction in knowing that the eyes that watched from afar, whether friends, rivals, or strangers, would one day recognize a greatness that had been nurtured in silence, and that the lessons of restraint, humility, and dedication embedded in his secret threads would carry a resonance far beyond his village, teaching all who saw them that true brilliance requires not exposure but cultivation, that the loudest victories are those that unfold quietly until their moment arrives, unstoppable and magnificent. And as the fireflies emerged at dusk, dancing across the savannah like floating embers, Kofi felt a profound connection to the rhythm of life itself, understanding that keeping one's success hidden is not deception but wisdom, a commitment to letting one's achievements mature in the fertile soil of patience until the day comes when they cannot be ignored, and the silent power of effort speaks louder than any words ever could, echoing through the forests, rivers, and villages, a testament to the enduring truth that what is nurtured in secrecy will eventually shine with unparalleled brilliance. As Kofi's skill grew, so did the temptation to reveal the full extent of his artistry. For whispers of admiration began reaching him from villagers and travelers alike, each compliment tugging gently at his heart, stirring a desire to finally display the brilliance he had nurtured in solitude. Yet every time he considered sharing his masterworks, he recalled the cautionary tales of elders whose triumphs had been overshadowed or stolen when revealed too soon. And he reminded himself that true greatness is patient, that premature recognition can be as dangerous as failure, and that the quiet cultivation of one's gifts often yields the most powerful rewards. In the golden light of morning, Kofi would arrange a modest mat or scarf for a visitor, smiling humbly as praise flowed, while behind the draped cloths in the corner lay fabrics so extraordinary that they seemed to capture the essence of sunlight, rainstorms, and the rhythm of the land itself, each pattern telling stories that words could never fully express. And in that duality, presenting humility outwardly while harboring genius in secret, Kofi found a kind of freedom, a way to remain grounded, focused, and safe from the corrosive effects of envy and premature judgment. He spent nights under the vast African sky, listening to the wind whisper through the acacia trees, reflecting on the delicate balance between sharing one's talents and protecting them. And in those quiet moments, he discovered the subtle power of restraint, the way that waiting not only preserves integrity, but magnifies the eventual impact of one's work, making it impossible for the world to overlook or diminish it. Kofi's hands moved with precise confidence, weaving colors and textures that mirrored the vibrant life of the savannah. Yet he never allowed a hint of self-importance to taint his demeanor, understanding that success, when announced too early, can breed pride, envy, or resentment, while success that emerges organically, after careful nurturing, commands respect, admiration, and even awe. The village children, curious and eager, would peek around the edges of his hut, their eyes wide with wonder at the simple pieces they were allowed to see, while Kofi guided them patiently, teaching lessons not only in weaving but in the virtues of humility, perseverance, and discretion, ensuring that the wisdom of restraint would pass to the next generation. And in the quiet of his hut, Kofi felt a deep satisfaction, knowing that the seeds of greatness he nurtured would grow into a force so compelling that when finally unveiled, it would speak for itself in ways words never could, a testament to the power of patience, secrecy, and dedication. And as the sunset painted the savannah in fiery oranges and purples, he felt a profound peace, confident that the day would come when the world would witness the full magnitude of his genius, not because he boasted, but because he had allowed his success to mature in silence, like a river gathering strength beneath the surface, ready to surge forth and leave a lasting mark on all who beheld it. One afternoon, as Kofi worked quietly at his loom, a stranger arrived in the village, a traveler whose reputation for seeking exceptional talent had spread across the lands, and whispers of curiosity and excitement rippled through the villagers. Yet Kofi remained calm, aware that this visit could be both an opportunity and a test, for he had learned that sudden attention can be dangerous if one's achievements are not yet ready to shine in full glory. The visitor approached Kofi's humble hut, marveling at the simple pieces displayed, offering praise and subtle suggestions, yet unaware of the hidden masterpieces tucked beneath draped cloths. And Kofi greeted him with humility and gentle smiles, carefully guiding the conversation without revealing the depth of his skill, knowing that true recognition should emerge naturally, not be forced, and that patience would make the eventual revelation all the more powerful. As the visitor lingered, Kofi felt a mixture of curiosity and caution, sensing that this was a pivotal moment in his journey. Yet he allowed the stranger to see only what was safe, weaving a story of quiet excellence through his words, manners, and the modest works he offered, while the true brilliance lay silently waiting, gathering strength, waiting for the perfect moment to speak. At night, after the visitor had left, Kofi reflected under the star-strewn sky, feeling the tension between the temptation to impress and the wisdom of restraint, recognizing that the greatest victories often require invisible effort, disciplined secrecy, and the courage to let one's work mature without premature exposure. And he marveled at the power of patience, how it had transformed his weaving from mere craft into an art that would one day command awe, respect, and lasting admiration, precisely because it had been nurtured quietly and carefully, shielded from envy and misunderstanding. The rhythm of the loom became almost meditative as he worked through the night, threads intertwining like rivers and vines, the colors capturing the essence of sunlight, rainfall, and the life of the savannah itself, each strand a testament to his dedication and self-control. And Kofi knew that one day, when the time was right, the visitor and countless others would witness the full majesty of his creations, and that the revelation would not only bring acclaim, but also teach the timeless lesson that true success is not measured by immediate recognition, but by the enduring impact of work cultivated in secrecy, patience, and unwavering devotion. And as the first light of dawn touched the village, Kofi felt a profound sense of purpose, confident that the quiet labor of his hands and heart would eventually roar with undeniable brilliance, echoing across villages, forests, and rivers, demonstrating that those who allow their achievements to speak for themselves wield a power far greater than any who shout their triumphs prematurely. Weeks passed after the stranger's visit, and Kofi felt the weight of anticipation settle over him like the soft African dusk. For the urge to reveal his hidden masterpieces grew stronger with each passing day. Yet he reminded himself constantly that true greatness is tempered by patience, and that revealing one's brilliance too soon can invite envy, jealousy, or even sabotage, as the elders' stories had warned. Each morning he rose before the sun, threading the loom with unwavering focus, allowing the rhythmic clatter of shuttle and threads to anchor his mind and spirit, weaving patterns that told stories of rivers, animals, and ancestors, embedding lessons of resilience, humility, and wisdom into every strand, while the simple mats and scarves he displayed to the villagers continued to earn gentle praise without exposing the extraordinary beauty tucked away in his hut. At night, Kofi would sit outside under the vast expanse of stars, reflecting on the duality of desire and restraint, understanding that the silent cultivation of his talent was itself a form of mastery, and that the unseen effort, though unrecognized in the moment, would ultimately produce a force of awe so powerful that it could not be ignored. The village children often asked him why he never showed his greatest works, and Kofi would smile, offering lessons not only in weaving, but in the virtues of patience, humility, and discretion, explaining through stories and parables that the river does not boast of its strength until it reaches the ocean, and that the sun does not announce its brilliance until it rises. And so it is with greatness. As storms occasionally swept across the savannah, shaking the huts and bending the tall grasses, Kofi felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that every trial, every temptation, every silent hour spent at the loom was strengthening not only his craft but his character, preparing him for the day when his work would emerge as an unstoppable force, demanding recognition for its beauty, ingenuity, and depth. He imagined the moment vividly, the villagers' astonishment, the travelers' admiration, the pride of the elders who had once whispered warnings, now seeing the prophecy of patient greatness fulfilled. And Kofi understood that the lesson of keeping success a secret was not merely about protecting oneself from envy, but about nurturing a triumph so profound, so radiant, that it transforms everyone who witnesses it, teaching that the truest victories are those that grow quietly in the shadows, shielded from premature eyes, until they reach a point where their impact cannot be denied. And as dawn broke over the horizon, casting golden light over the savannah and illuminating the intricate threads of his hidden masterpieces, Kofi smiled with serenity and anticipation, confident that the test of patience he endured was forging not just a weaver of fabrics, but a master whose art would speak for itself across generations, echoing the timeless wisdom that the greatest successes are those revealed only when they are ready to shine in their fullest, undeniable glory. The long-awaited day finally arrived when Kofi felt that his creations had reached their full brilliance, each piece a culmination of years of dedication, patience, and silent toil, a tapestry of colors, patterns, and stories so powerful that it seemed to carry the spirit of the savannah, the whispers of ancestors, and the heartbeat of life itself. He carefully unveiled his masterpieces to the villagers and the traveler who had returned, watching their eyes widen in astonishment as they took in the intricate designs, vibrant hues, and the life-infused artistry that spoke far louder than any words could convey. And Kofi felt a quiet pride, knowing that his decision to keep his success a secret until it was ready had magnified the impact of his achievement beyond measure. The villagers murmured in awe, elders nodded with knowing smiles, and even the traveler, who had sought extraordinary talent across many lands, could not hide his admiration, for the work before them was unparalleled, a silent roar of genius that demanded recognition and respect. Kofi spoke humbly, sharing the story of his journey, the lessons of patience, restraint, and the quiet cultivation of skill, teaching that true success is not measured by immediate acclaim, but by the enduring power and influence of work nurtured in silence until it is ready to speak for itself. Children gathered around, inspired not only by the beauty of the fabrics, but by the wisdom embedded in the process, understanding that ambition combined with patience, humility, and dedication yields results far beyond what can be achieved by boasting or rushing. And the elders nodded, their hearts warmed by the fulfillment of a promise whispered in the wisdom of the past. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the savannah and illuminating every thread of Kofi's unveiled masterpieces, a sense of harmony and triumph filled the village. And Kofi knew that the lesson of silent perseverance had been proven true, that the greatest victories are those that grow quietly, shielded from envy, nurtured in patience, and revealed only when their full brilliance can inspire, transform, and endure, echoing across generations as a testament to the timeless African wisdom that the work itself should speak, and when it does, it commands the respect, admiration, and awe that no premature proclamation could ever achieve, leaving all who witnessed it with a profound understanding that the most powerful success is one that rises in silence, matures in dedication, and finally, when the moment is perfect, speaks for itself with undeniable clarity, beauty, and authority.